that we mix it, the more it starts to interact with the colors around it. A little bit more pressure on the knife, we drop off a bit more of our paint. Highlight details in our sand and pull everything together, guys. Hey guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 18 by 24 inch Oregonian Seascape. It turned out fantastic. You obviously think so as well. That's why you want to learn how to paint this one. So check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on. Let's do it just like this. Hey guys, what happened to the painting? What'd you do? Well, I'm just about to get started on it. You've already seen how it turns out. So let's get rocking and rolling. How are we going to turn this into what you just saw? That's my question. Let's make sure that we have our canvas and our black gesso stripe, right? Just about as big as our little tool that we use to stripe across it, right? All I did was went with some black gesso right across the edge, let it dry. Everything on here is nice and dry. Right now, first thing, we have to take our liquid clear and cover over some of our canvas in that black area, and trust me, we don't need a whole lot, that's for sure. In here, a little bit goes a long way, and just like that, our little black section is already covered and ready to go, right? We're gonna go across it just a few times just to make sure that it's nice and stuck in there, right? Nice and spread evenly. We don't have any real thick areas, and we don't wanna get too far up into our white. We're gonna go a little bit above it, about an inch or so, a little bit beneath it, just with our clear. And then when we come up with it to our white, right? When we're gonna be blending our white up, we can stop at that clear area and not have to get any white into our section over here. Now, let's wash off our brush because we don't want the white and clear on the same brush. Gotta wash it off. Get rid of all that clear stuff, shake it off. Make the old noise like crazy, dab it, and then we're gonna go into our liquid white, right? Our liquid white is going to spread on the white part of our canvas. So let's get a little of the liquid white onto our brush. Don't need to have a whole lot, just enough to make it nice and slick across our canvas, right? So I'll go back and forth across the whole thing, just making sure it's wet enough. And then I'm going to show you how to test it. All right, remember, don't get down too far into your white. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Don't get down there because it's going to brighten up our black section, and the reason we painted it black is because we need it to be black. It's gotta be deep and dark, right? Now, get all that with these stripes. There we go, and blend those guys away. What I did was I nicked my easel up here and it had a little bit of color on it, and that deposited itself. But if you have enough liquid white, I'll show you, just blend it all away, all over the place. Now, let's go back in, get one more little bit for the bottom. And we'll get our bottom of our canvas nice and wet. Have everything be all the same, and then we'll start up the camera for the live show and get it going. You guys know I paint everything live. That's how I sell all these paintings. Gotta do it live in front of people if you want them to see it and buy it, right? You gotta be able to while you're painting it. In my eyes, anyway, that's how I run my business, so I'm sure everybody has their own way of doing it, but let's fire up the cameras, get on to the live show, and then after that, you guys are gonna be like, I remember watching this one, and now I can re-watch it again on YouTube? That's amazing. Okay, let's get rid of this guy, clean off the old brush, and then let's get down to it, guys. Get down. Take me painting tonight. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome into the show, everybody. It's Paint with Josh. We're back in the studio with you again today. And luckily for you, we're actually filming a tutorial for this painting. So if you're ever like, you know what? I love watching Paint with Josh's lives, but then I can't find the video over on YouTube. This one's gonna be over there, right? We're gonna take a little of our phthalo blue and start dragging it across our canvas. Now, I was telling the tutorial camera before, I'm gonna show you a test, right? Make sure you got a little bit of paint across our entire surface, our liquid white up here, our liquid clear in the black spot, and then our liquid white down along the bottom. Taking our big old thick phthalo blue, and we're just gonna start dumping it. And wherever it wants to live, that's where it's gonna live, right? Get right down onto the water. Right down onto it, very cool. Now, depending on how much paint we have on our brush, it's going to blend throughout the entire thing. A little of our black and a little of our blue. Right down here, you can start to mix it and just dump on some colors, all we want. I really like having a lot of our Bob Ross black when we're doing a seascape sky, like an Oregon seascape like this. Ooh, just make it nice and stormy down there, right? Just really dark. Oh, I like it. We got a deep, dark storm cloud rolling through, right? Again, just dumping on the color. That's all we need to do. A little bit of our black up here in the top, not as much as down there, right? Of course, we got to cover our sides because we always cover our sides when we're doing Paint with Josh paintings. Otherwise, he'll yell at you. I mean, it takes just 3 seconds to cover the edge of your canvas with some color. Is all we really need, right? We don't need all the details and all the stuff. We just need a bit of color over onto the sides of our canvas is all. A little bit more of our Bob Ross black up here. A little bit along the top, and notice we're leaving this big white area. And the reason we do that is because I get the question all the time, Josh, how do you keep your clouds so white, right? Whenever I put my clouds on, they start to go blue. It's probably because you didn't leave a big open area of white to allow that to happen, right? It's not rocket science. I'm not doing anything special. There's no magicianry. No magicianry found around here, right? All we're doing is just maybe a few things you didn't see last time. Wow, okay, I gotta leave the white section in order to have it stay bright. I get it now. Thank you, Josh. You're very welcome, guys. You're very welcome. Now, let's come in here after we've dried off, cleaned off our brush, dried it off. Let's go into the lightest part first, and we'll just start crisscrossing back and forth, right? Not really doing anything because we haven't grabbed anything except we're getting some paint onto our brush. And so now we can come out here into our blue, and the more that we grab up that blue or that gray or your black or whatever color it is that you have around your canvas, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see it starts to change, starts to go a little more bluey, but that's fine. It's still not as dark as the rest of our sky, right? So even though we do drag a little bit of color into our light area, it still remains much lighter and brighter. Yeah, take some of those guys and blend them up from beneath. Over there like that, right? Just to have that little softness, a little bit of brightness come in here. The more that you crisscross, right? Say you got mobility issues and you can't crisscross, that's okay. Like this, side to side, then turn your arm, side to side again. As long as we're making an X shape, you don't have to do it in one fell motion. Especially like if you're on a big old canvas and you're trying to do crisscrosses across the whole, oh, your arm starts to get so tired. Believe you me, right? Over here, boom, boom, boom. Now we blended out our soft little sky, keeping a little puffy area of some white so we can throw in some wicked awesome clouds, right? God, I've got the worst headache right now. It feels like my head is in a vice right now. I can't do anything about it. Okay, over here, a little bit more of our white on both sides of our brush. And let's decide, who knows, maybe there's this big old puffer out there, just a boom, just a huge, all right type of cloud out there. Just pow, big old mush of color, right? All we're doing, popping out a big old section. Let's say we came back in with a brush, a little 1-inch brush, we'll come over here and we'll start to mix it, right? The more that we mix it, the more it starts to interact with the colors around it. Therefore, if it's dark underneath, the cloud's going to be darker faster. If you leave that white area or lighter colored area, and your clouds will stay much lighter longer, right? Now, that's not it. That's just not the only one that Paint with Josh wants to put in there. Why don't we come in with a little bit more of our white, pop it down in from this side, keep a little bit of shadow underneath. Oh, right there. A little bit of shadow, right, in between our brightest spot and then its darkest spot. Right there, little piece. That's gonna help us retain so much distance right there, right? We'll mix up our brush, pull it down over our deeper, darker sky, and you can see it starts to go darker faster, right? What's the difference between these two? Well, this guy's much darker because we're blending him over darker paint. He's not catching all that brightness, right? Unless we use such light amount of pressure and such heavy paint that we can keep it that bright, right? So what if we came back, a little bit more of our heavier paint, right? More of it, more of it, more of it, more of it. Okay, now how are we gonna keep this paint brighter this time? Why don't we use less pressure? Same brush, just dabbing it off on a paper towel, same little brush. Let's use less pressure and less swipes this time and see how bright we can keep it, right? It's more difficult for sure trying to keep it bright over a darker surface, but depending on our amount of paint, pressure, and practice, of course, you might just have the coolest looking clouds you ever did seen after one paint sesh with Paint with Josh. Look at that. Just fantastic, everybody. Just amazing. Is it not just the most simplest, easiest thing you've ever seen? Take your clouds like this, very lightly, from the top to the bottom, or bottom to the top, whatever. I'm dyslexic, it's fine. Over here, swipe it, bang. Soften them down, you get these cool little things. Now, let's throw some deep dark blue and black into our ocean scene, right? Same thing, a little of our black, a little of our blue onto the brush, and let's go cover over all of this stuff, right? Just right up to our edge. Boom, boom, boom. We want to have a fair amount of the blue and black paint in our black section. You can even see there's still color on my brush because it snuck its way out down here. It's fine. I'm gonna go back and hit that guy with brown anyway. The deepest and darkest of all the browns known to exist. Right? Gorgeous. Very cool little thing. Very, very cool little thing. I'm gonna take my sky back here and just blend it down just slightly so we don't have any brush marks sticking up around the back. Not trying to get it too bright, of course. Now, let's just say, what if we grab our palette knife? All right, we'll come out here with a little bit of our white. Don't need a whole lot for this kind of a scene. Out here, we've got these real far away little crashers. They don't have to go forever, right? They don't have to be the same amount of brightness. You want to have a little bit of darkness way in the back of all of your big things anyway, right? But just by scraping them in, a little bit of our line, a little bit more pressure on the knife, we drop off a bit more of our paint. Maybe some of these guys came down, right? They're not all happening all at the same time out there. Again, smallest amount, just like we're gonna do a little teeny tiny water line, and then we're gonna make it stretch. How far can we stretch that guy? Leaving little places in between, leaving little sections that aren't so colored in, right? Not every place is gonna be super dark, but not every place is gonna be super bright white either, right? Very soft little Oregonian seascape out here. I can now call myself an Oregonian. I've lived here for a few months. I'm an Oregonian. Now let's come back in here with our 2-inch brush. Very lightly, so softly, right? Just so we don't take away too many of those details. Just like that. Very, very cool. Again, into our titanium white up here in the front. Maybe we'd have a couple bigger splashers. So we're gonna come in, just pop in a few little bits, maybe over there, maybe over here. Not everywhere it has to look exactly the same. And then let's start coming out with a few little bits of our oceany water down into that black, right? Just a little bit. We're gonna go back, we're gonna spread it out. We're gonna take one of our brushes, spread it, spread it, spread it. All we need is that little bit of color, very lightly over those thick spots, so we don't really move them too much out there in the night. Now we've got to start going back in with our brown and really going heavy on our very dark brown color, right? So our Dyke Brown, it's the deepest, darkest brown one that we can get. Over there, we're gonna come in here, just start laying it in, right up into that dark black section, and then out into our white. And as we come out here into our white, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. Hello, what was that noise? Are you kidding me? Todd, are you joking me right this second? I don't believe it. Look at that. The more you come out into that white, the more like white sandy beach it becomes, right? You get those really cool changes, and then we're gonna come out with our last little section of water lines up here in the front. It's a very far away sort of a seascape. Don't have to be the deepest, biggest crashing waves that we can do every single time. And the more brown that we put out here and blend in with that white, the softer and softer and softer it's gonna get. But just then, that's not our whole bit of sand. You guys have seen my new little sandy technique, right? We're gonna throw in all sorts of stuff. So really blend that guy nice and good. A couple cool little bits. Nice and dark up here. We don't need it to get too bright. And if anything, can always go back in and extend out that darkness however long we want it to be, right? Where that water comes in and it really soaks the land and it just stays a bit darker than the whole rest of the sandy beach. So much easier to walk on that section too. I was trying to walk my way up to the beach, up down to the coast, down to the water, you know what I mean? And you're like trudging through this deep, thick sand, and then by the time you get down there, it's like walking on pavement because it's so compacted by the ocean waves, right? Little bits here, little bits there. I'm pretty sure I know which Todd it is, but is it our Todd from Discord? Our 2991, you know, HMT? Is that him? Is it? I shouldn't have, but it's so good. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you, my dude. My dude. Now, let's come back in here and grab up a little bit of white from our palette knife again. And then let's start to creep out a few little bits, right? That kind of rounded feel. So you start a little higher, start down here, right? It's a little rounded thing as they start rolling out towards us. Very cool little bits. They don't even all have to connect. You can have disconnections, crisscrosses. I was looking at the ocean for a straight 90 minutes, literally watching it, inspecting it, looking at all the little crisscrossy little bits of water as they were coming through and rolling, and nothing out there is all the same. You know what I mean? Nothing about it was the same. There was no bit of anything. It was just a random thing because there's so many things happening all at once. You know what I mean? It's not just the one wave crashing. It's 50 waves crashing while these bits are being pulled out, while those bits are crashing. It was a nightmare to look at and really study, you know what I mean? But as painters, that's what we have to do. We have to look at things differently and go, ooh, okay, how can I turn my hand in order to make that shape? That's the goal, right? So, God, it was about the hardest bit of white I ever had to get out. Just like that. A bit more down here. I just want a few more little top bits, especially up here, if we can get, yes! Get that thick, thick titanium white to just drop off our knife. Right? Looking like little waves, bits of foamy splash coming in. There's stuff all over the place, guys. It's such a madhouse out there, especially on the Oregon coast anyway. Nothing is connected, nothing is the same. You get all these crazy bits, they're all happening all at once. It's just the coolest thing ever. So, take a little bit more of our white, drag it out here. Oh yeah, that foamy bit. Really start working it out into our sand as it comes closer and closer and closer towards us. I have such a funny video too. I was like taking videos of the waves, like real down low to the ground. I'm taking videos and I'm like, ooh, look at this, it's such a cool wave. And then like my whole, up over my shoelaces, filled my whole shoe with water. I was like, oh, you're kidding me right now, but that's fine. That's fine. There we go. Oh, man. Guys. Now, we're going to very lightly, and I'm talking about so lightly across it. We don't really disturb too many things. You don't have to make them go away. You just want them to be soft. It's going to help them dry a little bit faster. Just about a day or so faster. It's going to help them dry out. But just disturbing that paint, making it look a little softer, a little harder to see what's actually going on. Because when you really look at the ocean out there, your eyes can't focus on everything all at once. You know what I mean? Oh, that's such a cool one. That's a cool one. There's a lot of texture in there, guy. There's a lot of texture here, guy. Look at that. All right, now, here's the most funnest part about the whole thing. We got to throw in our sand. You've been waiting for the gravel technique, right? Now, let's go. We need to mix up a few little things. Let's mix up one little bit of PaintWithJosh Black. So we know the 3 colors needed to mix that guy up, right? Mix this guy up over here a little bit. Then we're going to go with our 2 browns. We're going to mix those 2 guys together right there. And then we're going to go with one more little lighter section of brown. So we'll have some brown, some white, some other bit. Mix this guy up. That way we're going to have so many little different bits of gravelly color and things to work with as we spread out our sand. And then we've got our pure white as well, right? So 1, 2, 3. And then we'll go with our pure white on the top as our little seashells and stuff. It's going to be really cool. Now, in order to make our sand, we need to get a little bit of paint thinner. And when I'm talking about a little bit, I'm talking about just the smallest bit. So it's not even dripping off of the brush. That's how little amount there is. All right, I just dipped it in the littlest baby bit. Now, let's come into our lighter color first. Woo, that's a lot. Maybe dump some of it over there too. Goodness gracious, right? Oh, I mean, it's perfect. It's what you want it to do. You want it to run down. That's how wet it has to be. So let's get our little color over here onto our brush. Kind of soggy, kind of wet. Come off the side of our palette over here, right? And just start throwing out little sprays, just like we do with our stars and stuff for our galaxy paintings and different things. We're not trying to cover the whole canvas up, right? That's just with one color. Instantly, it starts looking cooler, right? Now, let's wipe our brush off, go into our darker color. Right in there, get a little of that guy, bring him out along the edge, and see if we can't throw in a few more little dark bits. The more we do, the more it starts to look like little sandy bits, guys, I'm telling you. One more little piece of wetness onto our brush, because your wetness runs away real quick as it flings out onto our canvas, right? So I got our little darker color. We don't want to have too much into our brush. You see, it can get very overly saturated. We don't need it to be that saturated. Come out here with that darker color down around the bottom. A couple little flicks, little here. We're just judging it based off of our eyeballs, where we think it should be, right? And then the best part is, go in with one more bit of darkness, a little bit more of our thinner, into our darker black color, right? Then we don't need to have so much onto the brush. I'm telling you, just a little bit goes a long way. Then we throw in those plaque bits. We don't need too many. The plaque bits really give some shadows down there, right? Now we gotta go hit it with our liquid white, guys. So get all the thinner out of your brush, make sure it's nice and clean, because the liquid white is just wet enough on its own that we don't need any thinner for it, right? So a little bit of our liquid white. Again, right out onto the edge of the palette. You don't want to have that big, chunky, thick bit of skin right there. Thank you very much. Wipe off our brush, just like that. It's out here on the edge, and we're going to do the same thing, just dragging the brush bristles through the paint, which bends them back and then launches them forward, right? So we come out here and we start going boom, 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 all over the plate. Where do you want it? Look at those little white bits. These little white bits really pick up and help our scene come to life, right? So, you obviously don't want to have too many little white bits on there, but enough will get you those couple little highlight details in our sand and pull everything together, guys. It just looks so freaking neat like that. Oh, just tell me it's not the coolest. Just the coolest, guys. All right, well, in any case, let's get over here and throw our birds in. We're gonna call it done, you guys. So start coming up with a title for this one. This guy came out amazing. We need to add our few little birds for the Paint with Josh signature, of course. So let's tap this guy. We'll get our little bit nice and wet onto the brush. Come up here with our birdie birds and just go caw-caw, just flying low on the ocean, trying to get to shore for sure, right? Come down here, sign this guy. I think we did the last one on the right, so let's do this guy over here. Sign him on the left, boom, just like that. Over there, tell me that's not the coolest looking gravel, like, just love it. I just love it. It is fabutastic. Goodness. 4 different colors of gravelly bits in there too. That's my favorite part. All right, guys. Now, we've got to finish our little side for Todd. So we get our covered edges over here. Boom, boom, boom. Cover our sides over here. And we'll be all set, you guys. So come up with a name for this guy. Maybe Todd will choose the name that you suggested. Well, guys, this one came out amazing. I can't wait to see your version of it. Please send it into facebook.com/officialpaintwithjosh. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day and pull out. Hey, guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 18 by 24 inch Oregonian Seascape. Turned out fantastic. You know it did. Not today, buddy. Again, this is where don't look at me. No one look at me. Stop. You guys are not allowed to see me mess up. Here we go. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Paint with. I don't like the. I can't be looking at myself. So, oh God, it's distracting. One more time. One take, Jake. Here we go. One time. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 18 by 24 inch Oregonian Seascape. It turned out fantastic. You think so? I think so. Why would you say that? That's just dumb. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on. Let's do it, Jaws. Like this. No, I did it backwards. It was supposed to be this way. Just like, no. Oh, I'm so screwed now. What is the thing? That was a perfect intro. Hang on. Just like this. And then you go, because in the beginning of the video, you're going to see me go like this. And I go, what happened to the painting? Blah, 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 right? So I have to go just like this. Okay, so to the painting first. All right, here we go. It's Friday night. It's Saturday. Whatever day it is, we're having a good time. Here we go. One more time. All right, let's do it. Hey guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Stop looking at me. I don't like you guys or me being able to see you see me. I don't like that. All right, one more time.